the Freefly. You may have seen some notifications about the Freefly that was supposed to start today. We are not going to start the Freefly today for no other reason than it would be wildly irresponsible of us to do it. Sure, we'd love the influx of people. Sure, we'd love the influx of, it can only help the bottom line, but it's a terrible experience for our existing, Star Citizen player base. So we are not going to start the Freefly until the mission system cools down and we feel better about the experience for the existing players. And yeah, there's probably a more elegant way of saying that, but I figure I'd just lay it out straight. We're just not going to do it until we feel like it's a good experience for everybody here. All right.
Hello everyone. Yes, you heard it correctly. Freefly in 4.8 is cancelled, at least for now. I've been with this project for a long time. There were patches that were really rough. For example, 3.0, 3.18, 4.0, but most of the patches in the last 4 years were actually not exactly fantastic, not exactly very playable. Still, CIG never cancelled a Freefly before. Tells you a lot about the current state of 4.8. Basically, 4.8 was kicked out of the door so that Chris can have his big sales event, DefenseCon.
You have failed me for the last time.
You don't want CIG to have lots of money so they can make the best space game ever. Of course I want this. I want CIG to have all the money in the world to make the best space game ever. However, the problem is Chris. Chris surrounded himself with spineless yes men. Everyone who has an own opinion gets removed. You can give Chris another billion, you can give Chris another 10 billion, and Chris will still prioritize eye candy, cool cinematic, his interactive movies Content 42, and his private cinema. Chris does not care about the PU as long as it brings some money in, and it still does big time. Chris does not care about basics, basic mechanics, some very basic physics, fun and interesting gameplay. As long as Chris is still calling the shots, nothing will ever improve. And why should Chris change? This is such a fantastic business model. I really have to give this to you, Chris. You're making so much money for delivering so little. Yes. You cannot even do basics of coding correctly. You are making amateur errors. I understand why so many people are still throwing money at Chris. No other game promises what Star Citizen does. However, there's a huge discrepancy between what Chris promised and what we have now in year 14. What we have now is much more shallow, much more primitive, much more unfun, and we didn't back Fortnite in space. I remember all those videos, I have them all saved, where Chris promised us the world, like for example NPCs and machines, helping with loading, unloading. Yeah, this is long gone. Now you have your magical tractor beam.
Like if I have a big container ship and I pull into the port of LA here at Long Beach, there's a whole setup. There's longshoremen, big cranes, and there's service, and the crew of the container ship don't actually unload the containers themselves. There's equipment that does it, and there's people that are paid to do that. And I would say that in general, in sort of the bigger sort of spaceports, you would have that same kind of setup where you would have the ability to unload the bigger ships, unload the containers. I think so the answer is there will be services, but we'll also have some specialized ships and equipment for unloading cargo.
This is just one example. I could bring you dozens, hundreds of more examples where Chris promised us the world, but what we have in year 14 is not what he promised us. Far away. And we will never get the game Chris promised us. Some people might say, yeah, but things can change, priorities can change. Yes, but they shouldn't change so drastically. This is a totally different game, much more shallow, much more FPS combat, much more Fortnite in space. This is not what we old backers gave money for. Here's just one of the many postings on our Star Citizen and on Spectrum about the current state of 4.8. Link to this is my first pinned comment below. GreyFox117, I'm tired, boss. In less than 24 hours of a freshly wiped game, the ironclad bugs out when you pass over a shard because the ship is 2 ships. Ironclad alone has lots of issues. I think I will make a video about the issues of her tomorrow. By the way, I own an Ironclad. I melted chips and bought her with store credits a while ago. I didn't make a video about Ironclad. Why? Because unless CRG starts to get their act together, start to learn how to code, give us a game Chris promised us, and not Fortnite in space with terrible, no fun, arcadey master mode, I don't want to promote CRG any longer. If I make a video, for example walk around on Ironclad, this will still be an advertisement for CRG and I don't feel like doing this anymore. Missions work 15% of the time, sometimes just failing randomly. Hangars on lifts are devouring ships or blowing them up. Yet this is especially fun because CRG took away our alpha UC in 4.8. Now we have much longer claim timers and much higher costs. Well, what can you expect when even people like Richard Tara don't know their own game?
Right now, for example, over 90% of all claims in the verse are for ships that have not been destroyed.
Once again, it's pretty much evident that CRG employees, Richard Tyra, are not playing their own game. Why do we have so many claims of ships that are not destroyed? Let me think. Maybe because this game in alpha still has lots of bugs, lots of very game-breaking bugs. I'm not complaining, it's an alpha, but most of the time when I claim my ships, it's because of bugs. Spamming the rental system bugs out and you get a ship forever. The server is already dying even before the Freefly starts.
Server meshing has been working pretty much flawlessly at scale for the past 9 months.
Well, I have news for you, Freefly is cancelled at least for now. People already have billions and selling it for US dollars, making the vibe almost pointless. Apparently this isn't true, but some already have over 50 million in roughly 24 hours, which says to me either it's far too easy to earn credits or there is something else here. These people will have billions in a matter of days. The economy is already screwed a day and a half into the patch. Yeah, CRG stated one of the reasons for this very hard wipe was they want to level the playing field and they fixed some of the exploits. I don't believe that CRG fixed any of the exploits. It's still way too easy to dupe items and to exploit in Star Citizen. Well, you cannot buy 2 billion alpha UC for like $2 yet, but this won't take long. Ship insurance is implemented, but the bugs that destroy your ships are worse than ever. I'm tired of this spaghetti code. My only hope is that the wipe means CRG can see who already has billions of credits and ban those accounts. I don't think CRG has the means to see who really used exploits. Most of CRG's employees are still working on Squadron 42. CRG still only has a skeleton crew working on the PU. And don't get your hopes up, even if we get Squadron 42 in 2026, something I'm not convinced of yet, there will be Chapter 2 and 3. I would be very surprised if CRG even has anyone who is full-time into looking into exploits. No, they don't. And I would like to mention again, I don't take pleasure making such videos. I would really much prefer to make videos showing how fantastic everything in Star Citizen is, how nice this game runs, how well designed ships are. But I don't feel like lying to my audience just to get free stuff from CRG like so many of the Shield channels. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen.
Chris is an amazing young man. He wears dresses occasionally, yes, but don't we all have skeletons in the closet? It's not something to judge the man for, it's something to celebrate. And we celebrate Chris around here on the set, whether he's in his can-can outfit or not. We love him, we care about him, and we ask him to get some help. That's all.
Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter or on Blue Sky.